This sport requires agility, speed, and endurance.
What is basketball, Alex?
Its receivers fly through the air with the greatest of ease.
What is football, Alex?
This sport is played by men and women in over 30 countries.
Bocce ball?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to sunny Thomas E. Wiggum Stadium in Sanford, Florida, site of the 1991 Ultimate Players Association National Championships, featuring New York versus Big Brother from Boston.
Scott, Big Brother the Machine is essentially the same team as last year's first time Gary. Last year they were eliminated in a tough game against the LA Iguanas. This year they came out of it 1 point ahead. They play a hard driving offensive style, a really tough defense. The key to this game is they know how to beat New York. It's a rematch of the World Championship game that they lost in Toronto. They know how. It's a matter of whether they can do it or not. The pressure isn't on them. The pressure's on New York to three-peat. So Boston has nothing to lose. They can play balls out. Players to watch, Jay Seeger, Steve Mooney. They played together for years. Terrific offensive duo. Jeff Williams on defense. They just got to give it all.
New York, what else can you say? Two-time defending United States champions, current defending world champions. They came here and started flat at the beginning of the week. They had trouble getting up for their pool games, but as time went on and the tournament went on, they started getting better and better and ended by pasting the team from South Bay Tsunami 1912 in the semifinals. Players to watch? All of them. They're all good, top to bottom of their roster. Of course, you want to keep your eye on Kenny Dobbins, who has 21 goals in 6 games up to this point in the tournament, including 6 in the semifinal. He is their inspirational leader, and he's going to try to lead them to their 3rd consecutive United States championship. Let's go down in the field. The game's about to get underway.
Should be a great game.
Big game. What's the mood of the team?
Come out here, my personal mood is to know, to use all the knowledge in my head and to anticipate them and to come out here and kind of grind myself into a swivet and knock them upside the head.
We'll go for drafts.
Guru might get the best jump of his life out. He'll still miss it because the wind's there. And that's where you come in, everybody on the field. Anything that goes up, anything that you can get to, you got to try. Because that's what we have over them more than anything else.
Jay plays so many points earlier in the game that if we run him, he's going to be ineffective later. Everybody on the team is going to be subject to the same
This is it. This is everything.
Tell me something, Jeff. What was the mood of the team coming into the game today?
Very positive. We think we're going to win. We think we can win. We know New York very well. They know us real well. We've been getting better and better against them as we play. We're a much different team than we were at Worlds. Much more together. So we're confident. We think we can do it.
The wind has died down considerably since the women's final. Probably about a 10-mile-an-hour wind from right to left. The sun is out. It's probably about 60 degrees. Perfect ultimate weather for the men's national championships involving New York, the defending 2-time national champion trying to become the first 3-time winner, versus Boston's Big Brother. Both these teams are from the Northeast region. New York won the regional 21-16 about 3 weeks ago in Dartmouth College, Hanover, New Hampshire. Both these teams went undefeated during pool play and won both of their semifinals. New York in a 19-12 win over South Bay, and in Big Brother in a 21-20 nail-biter against Los Angeles' Iguana. Both teams have played each other a number of times. New York has not lost this season. Titanic has come no closer than 5 goals.
And we are underway. Jay Seeger with the pull to Dan Weiss. New York puts it in play, going right to left to Bob DeMann. To Dave Blau, already at midfield. New York wasting no time whatsoever. Juano Flores, backhand to Dobbins. To Pat King, now 5 yards out. Ooh. Jesus. There's
Jeff Brown ran by and cleaned out Pat King, but I don't think Jeff saw Pat. I'm sure Pat didn't see Jeff.
Looked like he was stepping out to do a forehand fake, and he just got clocked in the running path.
Now Pat steps, doesn't have it. Fakes a little push pass for the goal. Bob Demand from Pat King. New York 1, Big Brother 0. New York set to pull. Dennis Warson, big lefty backhand. Big Brother puts it into play. That's looks like Scott Runkle down there.
As soon as they happen, scores, goals, blocks, whatever you think's important. I need numbers immediately.
Scott Runkle now into play. Steve Mooney doesn't have it. Goes instead to Jay Seeger. Had a poach by Blair O'Connor, who didn't get it. Good switch on defense. There's John Axon now near sideline. John Axon with Billy Rodriguez on the mark.
You know, Scott, I think we're going to see a physical game. Both these teams are so hard driving on defense, and they are physical teams. Obviously, it's incidental contact, but I think we'll see a lot of people going down on the marks and people getting hit, and they're playing aggressively. It's the national finals.
As long as they're not using the aggressiveness to take advantage of the situation. And
Absolutely.
I watched this Big Brother team play a great, hotly contested final against the LA Iguanas, which wound up with a final score of 21-20, I believe. And despite,
that semi, yeah.
Despite the closeness of the contest, they only went to the observers twice, and there was very little discussion. It was a real pleasure to see for a change. We now have John Axon to Eric Kehoe in the middle. Has Kid Runkle across, doesn't get him. Now spots Jay Seeger near side. There's John Axon. They can't get it to him. Now far side. Nice poach by Walter Vanderstraff. Eric Kehoe now open. EK blocked by Walter and caught by Dobbins on the far side. I'm sorry, caught by John Gewirtz on the far side.
It's like EK was going to the corner to John Barr and just didn't get it there. Didn't get the pass to turn in.
Walter got his hand out there and got
it was
a piece
a great
of that.
D.
Great hand block. Now Dennis Warson to Walter Vanderstraff. John Gewirtz now posted up against John Axon in the middle. Instead, they run Paul Shields out, but he can't get that. And a great block by, looks like Justin White. Now Justin goes forehand to the far side. I don't know who that's to. That never seemed to have a chance of coming in. He saw John Axon, but we've seen throws all day that going in that direction or carrying out of the side,
sure,
across the sideline.
That's 2 times they've gone to John Axon there in that same corner at this point.
There's a little wind down there on the field, and we watched the women's finals, and we saw the same thing, that all forehands going to that side of the field seem to be carrying out of bounds. But a great block by Justin White on that crossfield pass to Paul Shields.
This is where New York is more effective, is when they get a chance to set up their offense. They're so disciplined, and they know each other so well that they're very effective off the set.
Now they put it out for Walter Vanderstraff, who gets his feet caught up and can't get that. Now it looks like the kid with the disc fakes up top. Mooney comes across. Steve hasn't had the disc yet. Nice little Hiawatha to John Axon on the far sideline. Eric Kehoe, middle of the field, continuation. Jay Seeger takes it away from John Gewirtz. Now Steve Mooney with Dennis Warson. Now goes backhand to the kid for the score.
Same corner, different people.
Big Brother evens the score. You notice that was a backhand, not a forehand.
Yep.
Big Brother evens the score. Big Brother 1, New York 1.
Put Dan on the walkie-talkie, please. She's to your right.
Now back into play with the score tied. Big forehand pull will drift to Dan Weiss, standing about 5 yards from his own goal line. Now Bob Demand near side. Tries to come back under to Kenny Dobbins, who has space, being guarded by Jeff Brown. So Big Brothers put their defensive squad in. Dobbins, nice catch by Demand. Nice flick up the sideline. Pat King steps around. Jeff Yu on the mark. Pat, nice fake. Inside out backhand and blocked.
Lippman.
Nice play by Gary Lippman on the goal line. New York usually converts those situations, but Pat King, a little bit of a casual backhand. Now Jeff Brown, a floater, and Lipman can't pull it down. That's Dave Blau on defense. Dan Weiss now looks forehand, instead goes to Pat King. Now swing to Bob DeMann. They're trying to free up King in the middle. They go to him far side. There's Dobbins, watch him, watch him. Weiss comes out of the middle, there he is, in the corner for the score.
That's the one they're looking for. They're looking to free him up to either cone. Rarely will they take Kenny into the middle. They'll take him from the middle out to a cone or the other cone, and that's exactly the one they're looking to free up right there.
And he posts himself up in the middle for that second pass. He doesn't look for the first one. Waited for the swing to the middle and just bolted from the center of the pack. And all he needed was a step, because these guys are such great throwers. They can put it right between his shoulder blade. Cribber. Now Dennis Warson with the pull. It floats down to Scott Runkle and out to Steve Mooney. Trying to free up the kid. Nice cut to the near side. Being guarded by Andy Sheeman. Little backhand fake. Goes out to Eric Kehoe. Nice backhand over the shoulder of Andy Sheeman. EK goes to the middle. Jay Seeger. And Jay goes forehand, floats a little bit, but pulled down by Scott Runkle. Up the line to Mooney. Now EK goes up the line, they don't have him. Now instead looking for the kid. And I think Steve called a timeout. Looks like Big Brother has been forced to burn one of their timeouts early. They didn't have anything develop, and Steve Mooney called time.
Better safe than sorry, to use a cliche. It's always wise to use it if you get stopped up. Even these early goals will be important.
While we have an opportunity, we're presenting to you the two best teams in the tournament right now, but the tournament started with 12 teams on Thursday. Let's take a look at those 12 teams and how they got here.
There were few surprises in the men's open division regional competition, as 9 teams out of 12 were repeat qualifiers from last year. One of the surprises was from the West, where the powerhouse Santa Barbara Condors failed to make the cut, replaced by the East Bay Firestorm, who won the West Regionals in what has to be the toughest region outside of the Northeast. The qualifiers from the West region, the East Bay Firestorm, the LA Iguanas, and the South Bay Tsunami, a 1989 finals competitor and 1988 national champion. It was business as usual in the Central Division as Chicago's Windy City once again won the region, followed by St. Louis, who's changed their name again, perhaps hoping to break the Windy City string of 3 straight regional championships. No team besides Chicago or St. Louis has qualified for nationals since 1981 in the Central region. St. Louis won the nationals in 1984 in Santa Barbara, while Chicago has won twice in 1983 in New Orleans and 1986 in Houston. Moving south, we find a return to nationals by the pride of the South, the Miami Refugees, who displaced Gainesville's vicious cycle in the regional competition. In yet another example of how tough it is to break into the elite nationals power circle, the South once again sends Chain Lightning as the second qualifier. And while this is Chain's 7th appearance in nationals, they have never made the semifinals. In the Mid-Atlantic region, the Electric Pig from Washington, D.C. avenged their second-place sectional finish by winning the region and securing their second straight trip to nationals. The Philadelphia-Baltimore combination Fillmore team moved back into the national picture after a one-year hiatus and ensured that the gutsy Ring of Fire from Raleigh would not be enjoying the cold wind and rain in Sanford in November. Last year's qualifier Arm & Hammer slipped to 5th place as the New Jersey sectional winner Captain Crunch made a fine showing and took 4th. Last but certainly not least is the Northeast region, where the top 2 teams in the region were also the top 2 teams in the nation and most likely the top 2 teams in the world. New York Ultimate continued to win everything, and Boston's Big Brother fell comfortably into 2nd place. But the real story was New York's Graffiti, who finally unseated the Earth Atomizer from Boston and made their first trip to nationals since 1988. Congratulations to all of the competitors in the 1991 UPA regional competitions.
And we are back underway. Mooney goes across field to Jay Seeger. Nice throw. Jay runs it down. Eric Kehoe can't get open. Jay Seeger cross field to Scott Runkle.
Well, that's what I basically did when I said
Steve Mooney breaks out. They flip back to him with Dennis Worson on the mark. Steve goes far corner. Jay Seeger has a step and pulls it in. Nice throw by Steve Mooney to Jay Seeger for Big Brother's second goal of the game.
There's that connection we were talking about earlier, Scott. Jay and Steve have played together for so long, it's almost a no-look sometimes with those guys. They look for each other, they put it up without eye contact, and it's usually a completed goal or at least a long completed pass. They're really good together.
the men's Masters 1995. Excellent, thank you.
And we are back underway. Joel Mallet with the pull to Dan Weiss for New York, to Pat King. Pat King steps around on the forehand, now goes backhand. Bob DeMann with Darryl Siegwald on the mark. Bob looks for the end zone and takes a shot for Dobbins. Is he in? For the score! The observer right on the call. Bob DeMann, Kenny Dobbins, about 50 yards.
Right away, big out and around forehand.
New York lining up to pull so far. 5 goals scored in the game, all scored to the left. A little bit of wind down on the field, which is blowing right to left. We have a long game here today, which will be going to 21, and we're still early. But what you want to look for is teams that start scoring in the end zone to our right in the upwind side. And the first change of strategy in the game, New York comes zone. Now, New York will interchange man and zone regardless of what the wind situation or the direction is, just to keep the defense crossed up. And their zone defense is good enough to play both directions, both with and against the wind. What Big Brother needs to do is use this opportunity to run the New York defense around a little bit.
With the throwers they've got, Scott, they've got a lot of good hammer throwers out there with Steve and Jay Seeger and EK. They've got a lot of good throwers. If they're patient and they take their time with this, they should be able to work it through. New York is hoping that's not the case.
I'll tell you what they don't want to do, and in the semifinal yesterday, I noticed they got stuck against the iguana zone a couple times, and when they got stuck, they were getting stuck on the sideline. They were getting a pass to the sideline and getting trapped in there, and this what New York's going to try to do here. Big Brother needs to keep the disc in the middle of the field, and if they do get the disc on the sideline, they need to work it back to the middle as quickly as they possibly can. See, now they're stuck, and they get a high counter up the line to Eric Kehoe. Now to Steve Mooney. Jay Seeger working the apex, as Scott Runkle is the dump, and he takes him. And the kid looks forehand and steps around and makes a nice throw up the line. That's Tommy Evans over there. Sorry, Darryl Siegwald steps around. And now we go near side Jay Seeger. Now EK on the near sideline to Jay Seeger. That is Tommy Evans on the far sideline. They have him free. Jay wants to throw the overhead, but he doesn't. Steve Mooney pushes across to John Axon in the middle. New York trying to shut down now. The kid goes out to Tommy Evans. Steps around, fakes backhand, tries to move the cup. Now he does throw backhand. A little bit of a float on that. Scott pulls it in. Nice shot up the line. Oh, nice pickup, John Axon. Into the end zone, Eric Kehoe picks up the low throw from John Axon. A couple tough throws there. Big Brother picked him up, came away with the goal.
They're questioning whether EK did in fact come up with that goal off the ground. The green hat calls for a goal. 3-3.
With the score tied at 3, Jay Seeger pulling left to right. Dan Weiss once again retrieving the pull. Good hang time, Jeff Yu right down on defense. Now Pat King steps to the middle. Bob DeMann about midfield. They really open up the field and get a lot of distance on their throws. Dave Blau, but notice most of the receivers are coming towards the disc when they get their throws. They throw to space.
And they start from way back. That's what their discipline allows them to do. They know who's coming and they know where from.
It also
and
helps
everybody
to
else
have good
stays out of
throws
the way.
too.
Oh, sure.
You got good throws. You can put a lot of distance out there and know that the man's going to be able to split you between the third and fourth rib. Dobbins to King on the goal line. Kareem Basta. Nice inside out Kareem Basta to Kenny Dobbins, once again coming out of the center to his traditional spot in the corner of the end zone. See that?
God. I can't see any reason that
Dennis
I'll ever be back to
Warson.
Stanford.
Dennis Warson with the pull. Nice hang time. It falls down to the ground at the feet of Scott Runkle, who picks up. Now far sideline, Gary Lipman to Steve Mooney. Now about midfield. John Axon throws it away. New York now with an opportunity to take the first shot at an upwinder. There's the break. No. Nice bid.
Looked like maybe Dennis had a shot at it and held up a bit because of his teammate running down the same path.
And Dennis took a shot there. Well, New York had their first opportunity to score on the right side of the field, and John Gewirtz didn't waste any time. They do that when there's a turnover. I think they have an unstated rule that the furthest men downfield try immediately for that breakaway, and if it's there, put it out there. They try to get that quick score off the turnover. So New York with an opportunity. They don't convert. Big Brother now takes over on their own goal line. Nice hammer to John Axon, standing about midfield now, a little short of midfield. Somebody free in the middle. A little distracted and knocked down. Now Gewirtz. Matt Jefferson runs by. And John calls timeout.
Looked like he saw, out of the corner of his eye, saw the man coming, took his eye off the disc momentarily, turnover.
While we have a timeout down on the field, let's take a look at the results of the preliminary rounds and show how these two teams made it to the 1991 UPA Finals.
Now let's look at the result of the men's pool play. In Pool 1, New York finished at 5-0. The LA Iguana at 4-1. New York Graffiti, Miami Refugees, and Electric Pig all battled it out for third place at 2-3, and Team Mo came in last at 1-4. In Pool 2, Big Brother and the Machine was 5-0, followed by South Bay Tsunami, East Bay Firestorm, and the Windy City, all at 3-2. Fillmore, despite playing many close games, ended up with a 1-4 record, and Chain Lightning was electrocuted at 0-5. Congratulations to all of the competitors in the 1991 Men's National Series.
We'll come back into play with New York standing about 5 yards beyond midfield. Going left to right. And we're in play. There's Ben Yasadi, near side. Matt Jefferson runs by. Now to John Goertz.
Boston.
Shot for the corner, for the score. Amos Himmelstein from John Goertz.
Interesting. Boston was clearly forcing sideline that play. New York took advantage of it. 3 passes straight up the side, and they scored fairly easily.
And for the first time in the game, one team has scored 2 consecutive goals. And New York stakes itself to a 2-goal lead. New York 5, Big Brother 3.
Oh, it didn't at all. But they were definitely forcing wide. And then Pat King threw it away in that same corner.
New York now pulls. Big Brother will work left to right. Already 5-3. These guys are playing like they've got somewhere to go after this. That's the way New York plays their game. They play a very fast-paced game, very fast-paced offense. They play like they're on a shot clock almost. And New York is playing somewhat of a matchup zone, it looks like. It's definitely a zone defense, though. And again, they're going to try to trap Brother in the corner, which is where they are now. Tommy Evans steps out to Jay Seeger. This is not where they want to be. If they want to operate with the zone, they want to get it to the middle of the field as quickly as they can. A lot easier to see the field from there.
It's not a tight cup. It's a loose cup, which is deceptive. You think there's openings, and that's where they try to suck you into.
Number 44 on the strip.
Yeah, we had a strip there, and they continued to play on as is specified in the rules. New York plays a very loose zone defense. They'll for the first 5 seconds of the count, they'll give up easy throws. They'll give up the dump and the swing and let you work around all day if you want. They won't give up anything upfield, but as soon as the count gets to 6, they'll start closing on the dump and swing men to take away your option that you usually have when the count gets high. Now you'll watch, you'll see Skip Kuhn is sort of in the middle, and now he'll go back when that count gets high and take away that dump pass. Another important part to this zone defense for New York is they have total involvement from the people that are not in the game, that are on the sideline, and each one who's on the sideline has the responsibility of shouting out instructions to the people who are on the field, because there are people behind them that they can't see. So all these players from New York, you watch them walking up the sideline following the action. They're there to shout instructions out to their teammates, and they're all involved in the game, whether or not they're playing. That's their team concept. That's the way they operate. Nice little backhand Hiawatha, pulled down by Tommy Evans. Good fake. Goes to Mooney for the score. Dave Blau, nice bid for the goal. Couldn't get to it, and Tommy Evans, nice fake to free up Mooney in the corner.
Boston being very, very precise and very patient. The exception of the last couple of passes, all of them were very sure, very open throws.
And that takes the score to New York 5, Big Brother 4. And we are underway again. Jay Seeger. Big pull. It is out of bounds. Dan Weiss will take that 10 yards out from his own goal line. New York will set up and face Big Brother's man-to-man defense. Up to this point in the game, New York 24 passes to score 5 goals. Boston 67 passes to score 4 goals. Again, highlighting the discrepancy in contrast. What's it highlighting? Highlighting the contrast in styles. Nice big hammer out there to Kareem Basta all by himself. Now to Dobbins, about midfield. Pat King steps around and got fouled.
I think it's also evident, Scott, that we've seen nothing but zone from New York, and we've seen nothing but man-to-man from Boston. Obviously, when you're playing against a good zone defense, you need to take more time and more passes to work it down the field. That's all Boston's faced to this point.
And the way Boston wins games, and the way I've seen them win games in the past, is they win games by taking it to the other team with defense and getting in people's faces and getting layout blocks. Their offense is okay, but they win with defense. There's Dobbins got free, and I think he had a push off of Jeff Williams. Accidental, but contact nonetheless, and he'll send it back.
Jeff Williams is one of those players that you're just describing there, one of those hard-driving layout specialists on defense. He comes up with the big key blocks in big games. He's done it for him ever since I've seen him play.
What a great matchup that is. We go in with Mike Nevins, number 22 for New York.
Boston still forcing line.
Looks forehand. They have demand. Darryl Siegel on the mark, and they are still trapping. Kenny gets position for the score. He just stepped around Jeff Williams and went to the sideline. That trap's not going to work for him if they keep doing it that way.
No, and I quite frankly don't understand it, because where they send Kenny Dobbins is to that cone, and all they're doing by trapping is giving him that throw.
And he just stepped around Jeff Williams, and Jeff's a good defensive player, but it's real tough to stop that throw down the line.
We used to have a cheer like that. Give me a W.
And back into play, Darren Weidenman with the pull, sails out of bounds. And we'll have Scott Runkle walking it up to the line. Yeah, they're going to play zone here. Again, Big Brother did a good job last time of working it up the field against the New York zone. You won't convince New York to abandon the zone by beating them once. As a matter of fact, they'll consider it a personal insult and a challenge and come out and play a little bit harder the next time down. Big Brother operating from their own goal line with Scott Runkle and Jay Seeger and Eric Kehoe doing handling. Looks like Gary Lipman working in the middle with John Axon.
As we said before, Boston's certainly no stranger to this zone. They've seen it before. They know how to beat it. It's just a matter of whether they put it in play.
Eric Kehoe slides down the field. They've got only 3 guys really around the disc, and the other 4 are downfield. And they're taking a lot of time on each throw. They're getting the count up to about 5 or 6 before they make a decision what they want to do with it. Now Jay Seeger and John Axon. Nice little dump pass. Jay Seeger still has the kid over here, and he throws it to the near sideline. Again, using up most of the stall count. And here's a tough throw for Eric Kehoe, and a good mark. Forced that throw away, trying to break the mark. New York, another opportunity on an unforced error. Nice little inside-out backhand for the score. Dennis Warson to Darren Weidenman for the score. New York 7, Big Brother 4.
How about that inside throw?
Looked like Lipman might have had a chance at that. Right now, to me, it looks like Boston's working a little bit slow on defense, and when they turn it over like that to New York, they're going to have to that's where they're going to have to get it back. They're going to have to really play some hard defense after they turn it over.
And Walter Vanderschraff with a low pull. They should be able to get some yards out of this if they put it into play quickly. They get about 15 free ones before the defense matches up.
Eric's gone to a man-to-man.
High backhand. Eric Kehoe fairly open. Big cross field. Goertz can get up, but it's picked off on the far sideline. Nice grab on that floating throw. I think that was Justin Brown over there.
Justin White.
Justin White, excuse me. Steve Mooney. Now to EK. Nice bid by Walter. Big Brother sporting their red uniforms with the big head on the back and the almost unintelligible numbers on the front. New York in their World Championships black and white jerseys.
It's actually Big Brother and the Machine is their full name.
Big Brother and the Machine.
The Big Brother is watching.
And as they asked us before, will somebody please tell us why we're in Orlando? Now Jay Seeger, nice throw out to Scott Runkle, the kid. Now Mooney directing his offense. Back to the kid. Little floater for Jay Seeger for the score. Jay Seeger beating Billy Rodriguez to the corner. Big Brother scores their 5th goal of the game to cut the deficit to 2. Now Jeff Williams with the pull. Steve Mooney was doing a little cheerleading after that goal was scored, and they put in their all-star defensive 7. This is a perfect opportunity for them to get that block and really bring the level up. Now Jeff Yu on Bob Demand, big hammer to a wide open Juano Flores. Nice floating forehand, and the defender gets up and knocks that away. I think that floated a little more than Juano wanted it to.
Yeah, I think he might have thrown that a little bit too soon. He didn't wait for Dave to make the cut. He put it out there with confidence. Dave usually comes down with those, but he didn't get a jump on it. Not as good as the defender did.
Didn't have a chance, and Gary Lippman got up and swatted that away, and that's exactly the kind of play that Big Brother was looking for.
That's right.
To bring them up a little bit. Now let's see how New York answers.
Kind of big to me.
And now in play, Gary Lippman, who just knocked that disc away. Nice little fake underneath. And Barney Barnacle trapped on the near sideline. He's got Jeff Williams in there. Can't get it to him. Yes, now he does. Jeff steps out, throws cross field. Big Brother now on their own end zone. Throw out to, we've got a stoppage in play. Joel Mallet for Big Brother will put it into play.
A stoppage.
Now back to, I believe, John Griffin at the apex. And Big Brother calls time. It's their 2nd time out of the half with the score, New York 9, Big Brother 7.
Scott, wasn't there a Masters division in this tournament?
There certainly was. It seems like a long time ago, but starting on Thursday, we had the 5 best Masters teams in the country, and the Masters division is any person 30 years old or greater. And we had 1 team from each region, and let's see how the results of the Masters division shaped up.
1991 marked the first ever Masters national competition for men and women, and the 10 teams that competed showed us exactly why the division is called the Masters division. They may be senior in age, but they lack nothing in intensity, desire, and true spirit of the game. In the men's division, the preliminaries provided most of the excitement and close games as the Red Menace beat Third Coast by 1 point at time cap, and Mo Betta Masters beat by default by 2 to secure berths in the semifinals. Club Nimio beat by default, and the Red Menace beat Mo Betta Masters to set up the finals match, which Red Menace won in a walk, 19-8. The final standings for the Masters men. The Red Menace finished pool play at 4-0 and went on to finish 6-0. Club Nimio in pool play at 3-1. Mo Betta Masters by default and the Third Coast Ultimate all tied at 1-3, with Mo Betta and by default advancing. Congratulations to all the Masters men for the first ever national championship games. In the women's division, the Hot Flashes squeaked by the Grand Debs of Disc and then destroyed the Ultimate Masters of Illusion in the prelims. And the women beyond the verge of set 10 years after to set up an exciting finals match. The Hot Flashes became the first Central Region national champion since Windy City won the Men's Open in Houston in 1986. Congratulations to the Hot Flashes, and congratulations to all of the crusty competitors in the first ever Masters Division Championships, where the most fun still wins.
And we'll go back into play with Griff Griffin with the disc, and Skip Kuhn touches in, and we are in play. Griff goes back to Jeff Yu in his own end zone. And Jeff steps out to the sideline. Goes to Chris Corcoran. Cork goes back to Jeff Yu. Nice pass through the cup to Jeff Williams. Now they've got a bit of a break. And Cork's got it about midfield, and we had about 9 New York players calling travel from the sideline. General consensus on that one. Nice pickup. It's John Griffin. And they work themselves back to their own goal line now. A shot up the middle. Gary Lippman. Now to Darryl Siegwalt. And they've progressed to about midfield. And everybody will reset.
Boston's zone offense is interesting because they keep most of the players in front of the thrower rather than behind him like many zones do. They'll drop one dump back for him, but the other players all stay up in front.
Griff looks downfield. Bob DeMann gets those long arms out there. Now it's a very controlled zone offense also, not trying anything risky. It's exactly what New York counts on. They want to wait you out. There it is, and make you try to go up the middle and close on the disc. That's Pat King out to Dan Weiss. Now King has Dobbins near side, doesn't see him, and we'll have a foul called. And that's exactly what we were talking about, waiting for them to get impatient and try something up the middle and wait for somebody to close from behind.
Yep.
Now Pat Williams. Excuse me. Pat King with Jeff Williams on the mark. Back to Pat King. Now Bob DeMann.
I lost attention to the scoreboard. Is that the right score?
Into Skip Kuhn. He's not in the end zone. There's a lot of bumping going on there. Gets to Pat King. Nice flat backhand to Dobbins out of the middle for the score. I think we're going to have a pick call.
I think a pick was called out of the stack there.
Nope. He takes back his call, and Kenny thanks him by spiking the disc into the ground.
This brings a crowd of boos from the crowd. Spikes are always good for a chorus of boos.
New York with their 3-goal lead. Aaron Flores will pull. And Big Brother will move right to left. Jay Seeger. Nice block. John Goertz gets his hand on the disc.
Yeah, he laid it way out on that one. He got just enough finger on it to make it change direction and get out of bounds.
Nice throw. Jay Seeger trying to pay him back and can't get to the disc. Goertz rips it away. A little fake backhand. Now to Aaron Flores. Trying to free up Dennis Warson, and they do. Dennis looks at the end zone first, as always. And instead goes backhand to Ben Yasadi. Now to Aaron Flores. Big shot for the corner. There's Dennis. Oh, and he can't get to it again. He just out of his reach. Looked like he had a better shot at that one than the other one, though.
Yeah, he put his hands to his head and said, I can't believe I didn't get that.
Yeah,
That's one of those Dennis usually comes down with.
Yeah, he thinks he should have had that also. Big Brother gets a break. They're trailing by 3 and need this one to keep it close. Now Jay Seeger steps out to John Barr. Big Brother works to Scott Runkle. Now Eric Kehoe standing at midfield. Nice layout by Moons to get that one
He knew he had to beat Dennis to the disc in that one.
It's a tough catch there by the kid. Now it goes to Moons. To Moons up top, all alone for the score. Oh no! Steve Mooney.
We come back to the other end, and Steve misses one that he should have had. So we've had two very unlikely drops back to back.
Wouldn't expect to see that. If somebody had told me you'd see Dennis Warson and Steve Mooney drop goals in the same point, I would have told them they were crazy.
Yep, no
there
way.
you have it.
What's happening? For who?
Looks like Tommy Evans is hurt. He's going to come out. And they're going to use that opportunity. We have an injury timeout on the field. Dennis apparently was still a little bit dizzy from his layout in the end zone. New York took him out, and Big Brother used the opportunity to replace Tommy Evans with one of their best defensive players, Jeff Williams, who now matches up on Kenny Dobbins.
You know, Scott, I think he might have dinged his head on that first layout several points ago that we saw. I think he really banged himself that time, and it's coming back to him here.
I think he's going to go over the table. Mrs. Dobbins will fix him some soup or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he'll be okay, and we'll see him back in the game. And nice throw cross field. It's Mike Turoff on the far side. Ooh, puts one in the dirt for Dobbins, who picks it up. I think Kenny likes it down there. Feels very comfortable. Now up the sideline, just out of the reach of Aaron Flores, and Kenny's going to say he was fouled. And we saw a discussion just like this between these same two people at the World Championships, where Kenny tried to step around and break the mark and throw that, and Jeff Williams claimed that he had position. Kenny overthrew the receiver and said that he was hit, and they went to the observers, and the observers said that Jeff had established position, and that looked like the identical play. If I'm the observer on that one, I say no foul.
I'd have to agree with you, and like you said earlier, it's a terrific matchup between these two guys. I mean, they've played against each other so often, and they just go head-to-head and really go at it.
Okay, once again proving why we're up here and not down on the field, D, is that the observers have ruled that Jeff fouled Kenny, and he puts it back into play. So now Goertz goes crossfield to Yasadi, who will use Dobbins if he can, and he does. Nice forehand to the corner. Ron Papernak can't get to that one. He was out of bounds.
Kenny reversing roles and throwing into the end zone rather than receiving.
Yeah, Ron Papernak made a nice bid at that, just couldn't get to it. That's wrong. It's not Chris Phillips. It's Ron Papernak. Nice hammer up the line to Jay Seeger to break it out of the corner. Jeff Williams with nobody on him right now, and that Kenny picks him up. Still no count. Now the kid goes to Moons on the far side. He really wants to get this goal here because he already had it essentially and gave it away.
I'd like to have that one back.
Little flip. Receiver pulls it in on the far side.
Looks like Justin White over there.
And back into play. He'll swing pass to the kid. Looks to the end zone. Little collision in the middle there. I think John Goertz is going to tell Jay what he did wrong.
New York's been sticking to the man for several points now. After starting exclusively with the zone, they've been playing man for 3 or 4 points.
Now they flip to Mooney. Well, I think after they scored their 2 in a row and they thought they had a little bit of wind advantage, Big Brother pretty much churned it right upfield against the zone. And while that necessarily didn't discourage them, maybe they said, hey, we're here, it's Nationals, let's get in their faces for a few points and then play strategy a little later. Jeffrey Williams with the score from Jeff Williams. And Jeffrey getting a little bit of payback on Mr. Dobbins there.
And then you can turn a profit in.
Now we go back into play. forehand pull to the far sideline. Dan Weiss makes it exciting for Bob DeMann. Now to Pat King, and once again with 2 or 3 passes, they're already at midfield, and they go with a planned play to the end zone, just out of the reach of Skip Kuhn. So Jay Seeger now has an opportunity to cut the deficit to 1, and that will be a big step for Big Brother. Very similar situation at the World Championships. They had an opportunity to cut it to 1 early and take a little bit of command in the game. And instead, New York got a big point block from Kenny Dobbins and took the 3-goal lead and eventually coasted to victory. Jeff Yu goes up top. Gary Lippman and a flip to Cork. Jeff Williams standing now in midfield. Jeff comes near side to, that's Jay Seeger. Bob DeMann on the mark. Zip through to Lippman. A little floater for Jeff Williams, who will trust Gary with the disc again. That goes far side to Jeff Yu. Jeff using some great fakes to try to get the cup moving. A lot of experience in there in those 3, and Bob DeMann and Skip Kuhn and Kareem Boston in the cup. It's a tough defense to penetrate.
Seeing Boston bring more of their players up further from downfield and get more involved, which they weren't doing before. They're starting to get a little bit tighter, which I think will help them against this zone.
Yeah, you see Darryl Siegel coming in from deep and making a cut in. They don't get him the disc, but he draws the defense in. And Jeff picking up the disc. Jeff looks end zone. Again, here's a situation where they're up around 20, 25 passes now, and they need to keep their heads about them as they get close to the end zone. They can't force a pass to the middle like Jeff did last time and have Pat King zip in there and pick it off. And there's another indication, just not necessarily a good choice.
I think he probably went up a little earlier than he would have normally for that pass, because he heard the defender's footsteps coming. Didn't give him a good bid at it.
That's right. The defender was close, and that's not what you want when you've worked that hard against the zone defense. Nice catch by Dave Blau. And it looks like Boston is forcing sideline again.
Nice
Skip
layout
Kuhn
bid by
gets it up
Jeff
in the
Williams
air.
there.
It's hanging. Again, drifting to the end zone. Dan Weiss is in for the score. Absolutely. Again, a throw to that sideline, that forehand throw to that sideline carried over everybody, and Dan with a heads-up play to pull that in.
It was really a break for New York. That wasn't the throw he wanted, and it got up in the air, and New York came down with it. Dan Weiss had his eyes on it the whole way, and he got the break.
Tough.
It's combining chemicals.
And New York with the pull. Ben Yassadi pulls it out of bounds. Not exactly the best pull in the world. We'll give Big Brother an opportunity to work from about 20 yards from their own end zone in the middle of the field.
New York looks like they're going to set back up in their zone here.
Yeah, we will see a zone now from New York. Last time we saw this, Big Brother was fairly efficient in working it down the field every time they had the disc.
What did they have last time, Scott? About 20, 25 passes?
Yeah, the last couple times they had, last time was 25. Possession before that, they had 20 some odd passes. And both of them ended with a sort of a forced throw downfield that wound up being blocked or dropped. Again, they need to keep their heads about them. There's Moons now to John Axon. Now to the kid directing the offense, working the apex. Steps underneath. Nice throw to John Axon. They've already worked it to within 15 yards of the goal, which is approximately where they were last time. And we're back in play. The kid with Blair O'Connor on the mark. They go to Jay Seeger. He works back to the middle. Big Brother now standing just inside of midfield. Nice step around to throw far sideline. Big hammer this side.
Nice catch. Not an easy one looking into the sun either. Eric Kehoe makes a couple interesting fakes and now skips cross field to the kid. Scott faking the overheads. Now he needs help from Jay, who gives it to him about midfield.
This is about the point where Boston's turned it over the last couple times. Right here with the throw that they didn't need. See if they can hold it through this point.
I think Cribber's caught where he doesn't want to be. He came up, thought he could poach on that, and realized he couldn't. He manages to get back. EK with a little flip. Nice fake. They go to Moons. There's the flip. Knocked down by Dennis Warson against Steve Mooney with a no-look pass to the end zone. Thought he had the give and go, but in the zone defense, especially with New York being as heads-up players as they are, you just can't take a no-look shot to the end zone. There's always going to be somebody there.
All the way down again. Can't push it in.
There's Ben Yasadi. That goes to Bill Rodriguez, whose picture graces the ultimate shirts from the World Championships in Toronto. And New York takes a timeout. Ooh, Pax.
Whoa. Run away.
And we're back in with Blair O'Connor in possession. 5 yards inside of midfield. Nice shot to John Gewirtz, who hangs one up to Ben Yasadi, who tries to get in and does not, standing on the goal line. Little flip for Blair for the score, right between two defenders from Big Brother. New York has its first 4-goal lead of the game. New York 10, Big Brother 6.
Where's that head gapper?
Darren Wiedenman, the D-man.
Is it Wiedenman or Weidenman?
Wiedenman, who cares? He's the D-man.
The D-man.
I mean, there used to be lines.
Is he pulling? Yes. That's Juano Flores with a forehand blade, which they knock down about 5 yards out, get a free pass to Moons. Now goes to the kid, who will work from about 20 yards from his own end zone. That looked like a foul. Andy Sheeman got a good piece of Steve Mooney there. I'm sorry, got a good piece of Kid Runkle. Up top for Moons. And Dennis gets up over the top of Steve Mooney on the floating hammer to knock it away. New York are starting to take charge of this game, and they're doing it with defense. There's Juano Flores now about 10 yards out. Now to Aaron Flores. Nice fake. Now towards the middle. Turns it in. There's Juano, and that one's into the ground. Darren Weidenman didn't have anything, and
Cribber was in the back of the end zone begging him to call a timeout, and he didn't see him.
instead threw one into the dirt. And I think the rest of the New York players were expecting him to call timeout, and as a result, didn't look like they were making much happen out there on the field.
It's nice to see Dennis looking like he's feeling better after getting his bell rung earlier in the game. Got the cure from Mrs. D.
Plus, those going over top Steve Mooney for a block kind of makes you feel better also, I'm sure. Not that I would know. I'm speculating, of course. Has the kid on the near sideline. Jeff Williams. Oh, and he gets his leg rolled. Like that hurt a little bit. It's definitely an accidental contact there. Just looked like Jeff stopped short and the defender couldn't stop and rolled up over his legs. And those are kind of scary when you see him.
Jay Seeger to Scott Runkle. Again, they seem to be relying a lot on the same people. Now there's Mooney going for John Axon, who has a step. Is he in? Yes, he's in the end zone. Nice shot up the sideline by Steve Mooney to John Axon for a much-needed goal for Big Brother.
Definitely a big goal. That's the first time in a long time that they've taken it from end to end and scored a goal with it. They needed that one.
Bad dog. Now Steve Mooney with a big arcing backhand pull that Aaron Flores knocks down, Dan Weiss knocks down in the end zone. And we see Big Brother playing a
We've gone into
very
a zone.
loose zone, yeah. But Jay's playing matchup in the middle there against Kenny, though.
And their downfield defenders are also playing matchup on the down receivers.
It almost looks like a man-to-man, and now it is a man-to-man. They switched to a man-to-man. That's a strategy that New York likes to use a lot themselves. Where they start in a zone, they specify a specific number of passes after which they will go man-to-man.
Looks like Jeff Williams is down. Looks like he hurt himself on that nice layout bit on Pat King there.
Jeff lays out a lot on defense, and even for passes that you wouldn't think he'd be able to get to, he still goes completely horizontal, and a lot of times, even if he doesn't get the disc, he will distract the offense and will cause them to drop the disc.
He's definitely an artist at laying out. Wasn't he the slip and slide champion last year?
So now we'll have Pat King over to Dan Weiss. Nice bid by Jeff Yu. Over to Pat again. Out to Dobbins. Nice pickup. Now to Pat King. New York moving very efficiently. I think we've got a foul. There's a little contact downfield. Mike Nevins is open, but they'll bring it back. He and Cork sort of got tied up, and the Cork went down, and the play stopped right there. And we're back in. Pat King underneath to Bob DeMann. Great inside-out forehand. Little flip for the score. Bob DeMann to Pat King with the pseudo spike in the end zone. That takes us to half.
That's the fakey.
That's the fake spike.
The fakey spike.
Fake spike. I'm sure you'll see the real one later. But we go to half with the score New York 11, Big Brother 7. Let's take it down to the field with Andy Bornstein.
Jeremy, close first half, down 4. What do you guys... Yeah, look at me. Guys, down 4. What do you guys have to do to win this game?
I think mainly be a little bit more patient on zone O. We've broken through the middle quite a few times. And don't really convert. Defensively, our intensity has to pick up a lot more. Focus on the mismatches that we can create on the turnover.
John Barr said that you've been a second-half team this whole tournament. You're going to see it this half?
I certainly think so. I mean, every game we've been down 2 or 3 at halftime, and we've come back. And this will just be the cap it right off the whole tournament. We're 7-0, all come from behind victories, beating every good team here. We had the hardest pool going in. It'll be a Cinderella story. Minnesota Twins, USA Olympic hockey team.
And Boston's Big Brother.
Boston's Big Brother.
All right, Jeremy, thanks a lot.
We talked about being a little more aggressive on our throws and just taking it to them. We've been down every half this tournament, it seems like. You know, this is one half, great opportunity for us. We won't have this opportunity again.
You guys going to have just come out pumped?
Yeah.
You guys get the disc, or you
We receive going downwind.
Going downwind, so you can cut it to within 3. Yeah. All right, good luck. Thanks a lot for talking to us.
Thanks.
All right. Steve, down 4, getting the disc. What's the game plan this half?
Well, I think that a couple of times we took them out of their offense, got the turns, they played zone. I think that was smart on their part. And we just have to adjust a little bit. That's not our best zone O, but that's not their best zone D either. So we talked about that. If we can play a little bit of help D on some of their main players and let their second guys beat us. And then if their second guys beat us, I'm gonna have to give them credit. But we gotta stop the first line. So that's really what we talked about.
And right now, putting this first one in and playing some D, right?
Oh yeah, we got to put, every time they pull us up here, we have to score. All right, the game will be won by the teams that you know, turn and score. I've seen it all weekend. But I must say we're not uncomfortable playing from behind.
Right, I hear that's been the norm for this tournament.
I've yet to play a game where we weren't behind.
Right.
So I don't think teams nervous.
Good luck, Steve. The crowd's certainly behind you.
Well, they'd like to see New York go down. Maybe they want to see them more going down than us going up, but I'll take it.
All right, good luck. What do you guys have to do to win this thing?
Just come out hard and not ever show a sign of weakness.
You guys at all nervous? This is going for the hat trick.
This is finals of nationals. There's no way you could possibly not be nervous about this. But it's a combination of nervous and excited. I hope that if we get rocking, this is going to be a lot of fun.
What do you expect from them? Any changes?
I think they're going to be a lot looser than normal. I think they play us a lot, they lose to us a lot. And at this point, this is for everything. The pressure's kind of off them in a way. They've made it to the finals. That's a victory. No one's expecting them to win. I know they believe they can win. And I think they're going to come out a lot looser than they normally do against us. I think they're going to play better than they played against us in a long time. And I expect this is going to be a brutal game, an extremely well-played game for them. And we're going to have to play up to our best potential to beat them.
Well, Pat, good luck.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, buddy. What's it like being on the sideline?
It's tough.
Yeah?
It's tough to watch.
Why are you down here?
Just to feel the spirit of the game and feel these guys play.
What do you think? I mean, this is the classic matchup.
No, it's been done before many times, many times.
Do you expect the same result, or do you expect Titanic to somehow pull a major upset here?
Well, as I see it for Titanic, basically, if they can win this game, they bury a lot of ghosts for the past 5 or 6 years that New York has beaten them. So it really doesn't matter what's happened before. You know, basically, if Titanic wins, they feel like they're on top. If New York wins, then I think it settles it once and for all.
The 1991 Women's Division Finals game was a real nail-biter as the defending champion Bay Area Maniacs took on Boston's Lady Godiva in a game sure to be talked about for years. Boston jumped out to a 7-2 lead before the Maniacs climbed back into it at 13-all, then moved out in front 15-13 with possession of the disc. Godiva turned and scored, and the game went on to cap at 18. We join the game now with Godiva with the disc, 18-all cap, 1991 National Finals.
And we are set to go. Sarah Savage pulls for the Maniacs. Nice hang time. And inbounds. Kate Coyne with Peggy Hollinger. Underneath, there's a big throw for the game. Gloria Lust. Oh, and she got knocked down. There's going to be a discussion on this, but she obviously got knocked down.
That was a heck of a pass, Scott.
Well,
after a lengthy discussion, an appeal was made to the observers, who upheld Godiva's call. Play was resumed on the Maniacs' goal line.
We will go back into play. Gloria Lust, 1 foot away from the national championship. Chris Wagner, and it's in. Backhand dump, Chris Dunlop. Little push for Robin Barney. Flip for the score, it's over!
And so, congratulations go to Lady Godiva, the 1991 national champions. And now the results of the pool play. In Pool 1, the Bay Area Maniacs went 5-0 to win the pool, followed by the Washington, D.C. Satori at 4-1. Atlanta's Ozone was third at 3-2, followed by the Boston Wild Wings fourth at 2-3. The New York Women and Chicago Nemesis 2 were both 1-4. In through to Lady Godiva Road at 5-0, followed by the Santa Barbara Condors at 4-1. The Deviates from Colorado were next at 3-2, and the Philadelphia Zephyrs were fourth at 2-3. The Sarasota Hucksters went 1-4, and I Woke Up had a nightmare at 0-5. Congratulations to all of the competitors in the 1991 Women's National Championships.
Now we're back into play. We start the second half. John Goertz with a turf shot. Big Brother pulls up just shy of midfield. A little floater to the kid. Manages to pull it in. Now Big Brother about 25 yards from the end zone. They trail by 4 for the first time in the game, and again they really need to do something to pick their emotion up. They looked a little flat even at halftime in their team huddle. I went down and had the opportunity to talk to Frank Revy, and there's an overthrow, and again a floater, the forehand to that side.
What do you see, Scott, for the second half? What do you see Boston having to do to get back into this thing?
I'm not really sure. They just, as I said, seem to be flat, and John Goertz calls the timeout very early in the half for New York, but again, he realizes the importance of putting nails in the coffin at this point in time, and figured it was worth it to call a timeout here to take advantage of it. But I had an opportunity to talk to Frank Revy, one of the observers down on the field, and from up here it doesn't look like there's much emotion. He said that they are really playing very intensely down on the field, and it doesn't translate to loud cheers, that kind of thing. He said they're playing very hard. They're just making poor choices and poor throws, and that's, against a team like New York, that's going to get you an early grave, and they're at a very critical point in the game right now. And we go back into play. John Goertz. Looks like Mike Turoff cut to the inside out, and he didn't have it. Takes that big dump pass to Paul Shields. Now we got Big Brother in a zone defense. To Turoff. Back to Mike Turoff in the middle. Paul Shields now out to Dennis Warson. Cribber looks to the end zone. And now he throws to the end zone for Ben Yasadi, who's got a step. And the goal! Dennis Warson to Ben Yasadi, somewhere around 50, 55 yards for the score. New York 12, Big Brother 7. Not the way Big Brother wanted to start this half.
No, not at all. And you usually see Cribber down in the end zone pulling those in. You forget, because he is such a good receiver, you forget what an arm he really has.
Well, Scott, looks like we're not getting home in a decent hour. Looks like we're not getting home at a decent hour. Holmes? Looks like we're not getting Holmes at a decent hour.
Are you guys going to drive back tonight?
Well,
Put the damn thing on a train and sleep.
we have an alternate plan, depending on how much it costs. More and more, my upper limit is going up of what it will cost, what I'll accept.
I'm thinking what? $1,000?
John Goertz, nice forehand pull, carries to the back corner, probably the best one of the game. Using that little updraft in that forehand corner to his advantage.
Boston stacking up.
That's a man-to-man. New York's in a man-to-man. Probably caught him a little by surprise. There's a throw to Mooney. That's not going to get there. He had a man coming on the near sideline who was wide open and just didn't see him because the stall count was really high. And
yeah, he locked in on Steve and followed him all the way through
nice
his cut.
catch, John Goertz. Looks underneath. Now goes to Matt Jefferson. Nice bid on defense by John Axon. That's Juano Flores to the corner, and there's a nice block in the corner. And there's
New York gets the break.
and New York picked up the deflection, and now they stand 10 yards out. Dave Blau. And a timeout, their second one of the half.
That's exactly what Boston has got to do to get back in this game. They've got to have those layout Ds. Unfortunately, it flew right back into Bill Rodriguez's hand.
Didn't even see him catch it. I was so busy watching the collision down on the field, I didn't even see the catch. So early in the second half, New York has used 2 timeouts.
The other thing we talked about, though, is those unforced errors, and once again, Boston threw it away.
Yeah. Hey, Lenny, hey. So we're back into play, and Big Brother switches the markup, and they free up somebody in the corner of the end zone. They look confused there.
Yeah, that was too easy for New York. There was a lot of people standing. I think there must have been a mismatch or a mix-up or something on that play.
It looked like what they were trying to do was confuse New York by switching the mark at the last minute, and I think they wound up confusing their own men. New York now with a 6-goal lead. Skip Kuhn pulls to Big Brother. Eric Kehoe to Jay Seeger.
Just sneaks it around Kribber there.
John Axon. Now Jay Seeger. In this situation, it's very easy to get impatient and just want to bomb it for the end zone. Actually, it might not hurt them at this point to take a big shot at it. Now, far side. They've got Eric Kehoe. Nice grab. I think we have a pick in the middle of the field. Very few calls this game.
Unusual for Steve Mooney not to be in on a set O for Boston.
That's a very good point. Maybe there's a reason for it. Jay Seeger. Eric Kehoe. Inside out. Nice catch. Is he free? Yes, that's a goal. That's Barney Barnacle in the far corner, and a nice inside out backhand by Eric Kehoe.
First goal in quite a while for Boston.
Yeah, that takes the score to New York 13, Big Brother 8. Didn't come out on the microphone. Suppose I could put my pants on. What's going on up in the booth?
I said back on.
Oh. It sounds just as bad.
We're back in play. Dan Weiss will track the disc as it goes out of bounds. New York put it into play, 10 yards from their own goal line in the center of the field. Now the Boston team has had the opportunity to put a defensive 7 in, an attempt to get a much-needed block here. Let's see what New York does. In this situation, they like to go downfield very quickly to take any hope out of the team that they're playing against so they can get 2 goals in a row. They've got Nevins at midfield now. Out to Dobbins, near side, with Jeff Williams. Now Bob DeMann with Darren Siegwald. Now Mike Nevins.
Well, I mean, he's got it. And the first
Steps over to Skip Q. New York methodically moving up the field. Bob DeMann.
I got kind of a strange response to
steps out on the backhand to Dobbins for the score.
There's his favorite corner again.
It's his corner.
Man, it's a throw. Score now. 14-8. New York lead.
Mike Nevins is the one with the blue headband. The other one is Ben Yasadi, who normally wears number 2.
That's a Big 10-4, good buddy.
Ben Yasadi on the pull. Big Brother from 10 yards on their own goal line.
That's correct.
Jay Seeger to John Axon. To Eric Kehoe. Now Jay Seeger. Again, using the same 3-4 people on their offense, working down the field, and they may be running out of steam here. You're seeing a lot of Eric Kehoe and Jay Seeger and Scott Runkle and Steve Mooney. And really, there are 3 other guys on the field who are
sort of running around in the end zone and not really seeing the disc much. Now Blair O'Connor steps around and switches the mark. And the kid pops out to Eric Kehoe, who goes far side. John Axon effectively coming back to the disc. Little pop for Steve Mooney. Nice bid by Bill Rodriguez. They go now far sideline, 5 yards out. Flip backhand for John Axon. He's got that for the score. This is Alec Ewald to John Axon in the corner. New York got to this tournament by going 5-0 in pool play earlier in the week. It started out with a difficult game for them against the number 6 seed in their pool, the Miami Refugees. They came out a little flat, and I think they have trouble getting up for games and tournaments like this. They've been in so many big games and nationals and worlds that it's tough for them to go out and play a 6 seed on the first day of the tournament. And as a result, they were only up by 1.5, and then sort of got a wake-up call and coasted to victory. And as the week went on, they seemed to get better and better, and then had a great game yesterday in the semifinals against Tsunami from South Bay in California.
Well, it was an interesting pool because your number 6 seed, as you mentioned, the Refugees, had a terrific weekend. They were 2-2 when they played LA, the Iguana, and in that game, the winner of that game advanced to the semis. At that time, Iguana was 3-1, so they would have both been 3-2, and the winner would have advanced. LA did advance by beating Miami, but
that was a brutal game too, with LA winning 19-15 in a very physical, very long contest. And you know, hats off to the Miami team coming in the 6th seed. I think they had the advantage of being close to home, so they were able to bring a big squad out here and bring a lot of friends and family and fans out. And I think they were excited by the fact that they were playing well in the beginning of the week, and that sort of got contagious as the week went on. But New York, pretty much as the week went on, began to dispatch their opponents with a little bit more ease every time they matched up against them. And Tsunami, who was by no means a pushover, they went through them pretty easily. And again, they did it with this patient offense that they have, this great setup when they put 7 on the field and receive the pull or set up after an out of bounds or after a timeout. They really didn't meet much resistance, and they played defense well enough to get them a 6-goal victory. We're now back in. Demand pulls it in. Nice effort there. Now with the far side, Kenny Dobbins. Little flip backhand to Pat King, who can't get it. Is he going to say he was hit? He's going to say he was hit by Jeff Williams.
Jeffy with 1 gear.
tough pass with that high release backhand. Kenny puts it out there. He throws it out there because he knows Pat King can get most of those. He's got a lot of confidence in his teammate, but tough one for him.
Now Joel Mallett, who was attempted that layout, and there's a turnover. I was about to say, Joel Mallett, who attempted that layout, he was beaten by Dan Weiss, and they tried to get it to him, and somebody poached off and got the block.
Looked like Jay Seeger got a hand on that one.
Yeah, Jay got a hand on that.
Coming through the crowd.
And Big Brother has called timeout. EK using a timeout. Big Brother trails by 5. They get this goal, they can cut it to 4. Start thinking about a comeback, but they need this one right here. Eric Kehoe with the disc, working 15 yards from his own goal line. Mike Nevins on the mark, looking for the immediate dump to Jay Seeger. Jay gets a little bit of air under him. Steps around to the backhand. Kehoe. Don't have it for Mooney. Instead, they go this side of the field for Gary Lipman. Now far side, Jay Seeger. Not a lot of happening on offense for Big Brother. It seems like they're having a real battle for every pass.
Yeah, they're really having to work hard for any advancing. They're going across the field and back across the field and gaining a yard or two at a time.
Ooh. Joel Mallett, EK, with a good grab of the disc way behind him. Yeah, they're not really getting those 30-yard throws that they need to break the possession open. A lot of it is just swing and dump, and New York will give them that all day. Now Pat King gets a foot block. No. Pat thought he had a foot block there. Jeff Williams is going to say he got a chunk of his hand.
Either that or he thinks the disc was still in his hand when he was kicked.
Right. So Pat King with the foot block. Dan Weiss picks up. Nice shot to Bob DeMann. Standing 10 yards out. Inside out flick to
Kenny's
guess
corner.
who? You know who? Number 44, Kenny Dobbins.
Bob DeMann to Kenny Dobbins.
Kenny should just like pitch a tent down there.
Kenny's corner.
It's Kenny's corner.
A team that Boston handled easily in this tournament.
Wee, 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 wee.
Windy collectively.
Maybe get some of those scrubs in here.
Ben Yasadi now pulls Big Brother, going with pretty much the same 7
Gone.
on offense. John Axon puts it up for Gary Lippman for the score. Made it look difficult. Great throw by John Axon.
John Axon to Gary Lippman, who makes it look interesting.
You know, Scott, I think Dennis might have gotten a piece of that throw, just barely. Did you see the way it changed directions in flight just after he released it? I think he might have got a little mac on that thing.
Had enough to get to the end zone. Look at Lenny Engel out on the field trying to get his teammates worked up. Now Jeff Williams from Big Brother with a pull. An opportunity to set up their defense, perhaps get a block and get themselves back into the game. It is getting significantly colder now down on the field, which may have an adverse effect on the players.
Certainly has an adverse effect on the spectators.
Yes, it has an adverse effect on us up here in the booth. Skip Kuhn, far sideline. I don't think it'll bother them as much as it would in the morning, simply because they're already warmed up and they're already in the game.
Right.
But they will be playing pretty much solely under the lights shortly. The sun will go down, and that might create some problems also. You get all kinds of interesting shadows, and it's a lot harder to see. Pat King to Dave Blau for the score. Nice little inside-out forehand up the line, about 25 yards worth.
Blau makes a visit to Kenny's corner.
Yeah, to Kenny's corner. And just like that, New York has answered Big Brother's goal. New York 16, Big Brother 10.
Let's go to Andy Bourne.
New York pulls. Ben Yasadi throws it out of bounds. Eric Kehoe takes the disc. We'll move it to the center of the field.
EK toting the brick to the middle.
Toting the brick. Actually, it's not a brick, it's a middle.
That's true.
It actually went out a little beyond the 10-yard mark, so he'll take it in the middle. An extra 3 yards, it looks like. Jay Seeger. John Axon.
Coming from all the way in the back.
And Tommy Evans. Flip to Moons and picked off by Bill Rodriguez. Tommy hasn't gotten himself in the game much, and that I think he just came out a little bit flat. Shot for the corner, and that's down. As we said before, New York has a very, very deep roster. They use a lot of people. Big Brother's been going with, you know, the same 7, with the exception of getting Tommy Evans in every so often. And he hadn't played in a while and came in and threw that one away. And there's a turnover. We may have a foul call there. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess they were going to say that the offensive player did not have an opportunity to play that. So they'll give it to Ben Yasadi on the goal line. Looks a little confused, gets it across and throws it right into the arms of Eric Kehoe. Now they go outside to Jay Seeger.
Sees Moon deep.
Ooh, and doesn't throw it.
Can't get the throw off.
Now coming back to the disc is Barney Barnacle. EK with the disc and stops.
I believe there was a pick called downfield.
Sure makes him think twice about that after you take it away.
A little flip to Jay Seeger. A little high backhand for Moons. Shot up the line. John Axon for the score. Over top of, looks like Juano Flores. Had position, but it looked like he couldn't get there to jump in time, and John Axon just went right over top of him.
Scott?
Yeah.
Longest possession for New York, 10.
Get busy. Jay Seeger out of bounds. Dan Weiss will put it into play. Nice catch by a spectator.
we bring the disc back into play? We were just informed by our ace statistician staff and scorekeepers that New York has not had a possession that's lasted more than 10 passes. Again, they play offense like they've got a plane to catch after the game. That's their third pass, and they've got it within a yard of the end zone. Look for Dobbins to come out.
Forcing the line that close to the goal line.
Over to Nevins for the score. Just making it look easy. Yeah, we've got a pick call there. So we got Pat King standing 5 yards out. What do you think? Kenny's corner again? No, they go to Demand. Oh, Kenny's open. Oh, and not a good throw, and down. He's going to let Bob hear about that. That wasn't a good throw. If New York hates anything, it's inefficiency and sloppiness, no matter how far up you are or what the situation is. That's a nice pass, and one they haven't been getting all game, the one to Joel Mallett up the line. Kenny flies by. There's a big shot for the end zone. Darryl Siegwald no, he does not get it.
Demand making up a lot of ground there to get a bid on that.
I don't know. It didn't look like Darryl was going to get that one anyway. Okay, we had a travel call on Joel Mallett. So we'll come back to Big Brother, 10 yards from their own goal line. Mike Nevins on the mark. Steve Mooney takes it away from Dave Blau. Back to Mallett. Zips the inside out to Jeff Williams. Has a man. Steps around, tries to throw the backhand. He got a lot of contact on that.
Well, one of the finer points right now is marking fouls. That's something that's subject to review before the 10th edition of the rules is printed.
Nice shot there, and Siegwald. Jeff Williams, nice catch.
Terrific catch in the end zone.
Wow, full extension on that one, going away from him. Great timing, and that, you don't see many better catches than that.
No, he was fully laid out, caught it over the top with his fingers, had the thumb under that time. That was nice.
If it's not too much to ask, could someone get me full return efficiency from New York?
Now Jay Seeger pulls to New York. Big Brother sprints down. Kareem Basta picks up.
Has anyone acknowledged that request?
New York now in play. Pat King.
I'd like a full return efficiency for New York.
Bob Demand near sideline. Pat's going to say he was fouled. Pat King now puts the disc in to John Goertz. Up the line, Kenny Dobbins. Oh, and he loses the disc. Tried to make a fake, and it came out of his hand.
A roar of approval from the Boston fans. Boston gets a break, an uncharacteristic turnover from Kenny. Down 16-12. If they can bring this up the field and punch it in, they'll be in 3.
Jeff Yu, I think we had a call. And again, a point like this, where we've got a lot of discussions, really takes teams out of their rhythm. It's real tough. Big Brother has to keep their concentration here. It's a very important goal for them. They can get to within 3, then it becomes a manageable deficit.
Absolutely. It has felt like they've been out of the game for quite a while, but actually they'd be pretty much in the game if they could score this and get to 3.
And oh, it looks like Jay Seeger gave up on that really early. And again, an opportunity to convert, and they just can't do it.
Jay's got to be getting tired. He gets involved in every point just about.
Right. Bob Demand will play the disc to Goertz. Watch Dobbins. Oh, and John overthrows him. From their own goal line, Big Brother, Jay Seeger directing his offense to Jeff Williams. Nice backhand up towards midfield. Barney Barnacle up top for the end zone, having trouble reading that, and that's out of bounds. For New York, Pat King from his own goal line. Jeff Williams on the mark. Across to Kareem Basta. Floater, Dave Blau. Does not get his feet in bounds and spikes it at Mrs. Dobbins.
Once again, the spike brings a chorus of boos.
And here we go again with Big Brother. Another opportunity to cut it to 3.
They're inching a little bit closer with each turnover. Now, if they can just hold on to it and punch it in the end zone.
See, it's a real long point. You don't expect this many errors in 1 point at a men's finals game.
You're right. As we said before, it will be a big either backbreaker or a big lift for Boston.
Now John Axon to Jeff Williams. Nice catch near sideline. Hammer up top for Jay Seeger, and there's the goal.
You see some,
I think that was Justin White. Was that Justin?
Looks like Justin threw that.
Justin White to Jay Seeger for the score, and after all that's happened, Big Brother still finds themselves only 3 goals down. New York 16, Big Brother 13. And Steve Mooney now pulls for Big Brother. That's going to travel way out of bounds. Well, maybe not way out of bounds. Dan Weiss picks up on the corner.
That's an unfortunate mistake by Big Brother because New York's going to start at midfield.
Yeah, where that disc went out of bounds, that never came back. They didn't need that at this point in the game.
It's hard enough to play defense on a full field, but to play it for just the half field, that's not the gift you want to give New York at this point in the game.
And we were incorrect. We identified the player that threw the hammer for the last goal as Justin White. It was actually Alec Ewald with the nice hammer for the goal. There's Dan Weiss now to Skip Kuhn for the end zone and Bob DeMann. Oh, we have a pick in the middle.
DeMann visiting Kenny's corner briefly. Boston really needs a D right here. I mean, they really have to have it.
Now Skip Kuhn. Across to Nevins. Steps around for the corner, and Kenny makes a visit to the other corner for his 7th goal of the game. And again, I think they sort of shot themselves in the foot there with that short pull.
They sure did. That was just really an untimely error.
New York's Ben Yasadi to pull. Gets a lot of air under that. Kid Runkle now back in the game. Took a few points off. Has it roll around and caught between his legs. Now Jay Seeger. Seems like Jay's played the entire game. Cross to Eric Kehoe. And there's the block. Number 26, Paul Shields. Just came to the disc harder than the man on offense. Now Darren Weidenman. Now Dennis Warson to Ben Yasadi. Big hammer to Cribber. Looks at the sidelines, can't get his feet down.
The nail hasn't been pounded in yet. Boston's got a new opportunity here.
Scott Runkle. Chased by Andy Sheeman. Makes a fake, gets the throw up in the air, and that's over top of the receiver. Knocked down by Bill Rodriguez. Big Brother looks like they're self-destructing on this point a little bit. Juano Flores, nice. Oh, and Bill Rodriguez caught flat-footed, and John Axon goes around him and takes the disc away.
Johnny Axon really wanted that one back after that one floated over his head. He was he was aching for it on defense, and he came up with a nice play.
And Bill Rodriguez is not happy about that, and he knows in that situation you just got to keep going at the disc. You can't wait for it to come to you. Now about 25 yards away, Barney Barnacle. Can't get it to Jay Seeger, instead to EK. Steps around, throws backhand now near sideline. Step across, Steve Mooney can't hold on to the disc. Another unforced turnover. Look for the big throw here. There's Dennis with the big hammer. to Bill Rodriguez. He's not in. Takes the flip for the corner. There's Ben Yasadi near side all alone for the score. As soon as Dennis picked that up, he knew he had a man deep and put that big hammer up top.
Yeah, and you know Steve Mooney's just got to feel awful about that. Boston is bemoaning the fact that they are behind.
And Moons is bemoaning the fact that he couldn't pull that disc in.
Moon's bemooning.
John Goertz with the pull. Big Brother moving left to right. John Axon to Eric Kehoe. To Jay Seeger. Steps around. Doesn't have. Ooh,
Interesting pass across the middle.
Now flip out to John Axon. Looking at the end zone. Instead goes near side to Barney Barnacle. To Jay Seeger. John Goertz. Great block.
Full extension. Went with the left hand. That was a neat block.
Almost baited the throw a little bit. Sort of ran with him, gave him a little bit of an advantage. As soon as that throw was up in the air, he was gone. Dave Blau. Now far side, Matt Jefferson. To Goertz, who got the block. Far side, Andy Sheeman. Inside out toss for the score. Skip Kuhn.
33-3.
And New York has taken complete control of this game at this point in time.
Very nice sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, grab the sky.
Nice sky, nice
Pretty
sky.
sky on that play.
He's already got it.
He's locked in.
That's Matty J.
Under the lights at Thomas E. Wiggum Stadium, New York, leading by 6 late in the game. Big Brother receiving. They can't worry about the 6-goal deficit right now. They just have to worry about getting one at a time.
That's right. They need to score this one and just go on from there.
Well, they need to basically score 8 in a row, which I think would be the first time that's ever happened against New York. Big flip cross field and dropped.
By someone who's right. Yeah, you ought to sit down.
And we've got an injury timeout, perhaps?
It's 'cause
Walter
they have
Vander
nowhere
Straff
else
now
to
back
go.
into Ben Yasadi. Dumps across. Kribber can't get it and knocked down by Big Brother. Steve Mooney midfield, looks end zone, has a man with a couple steps, doesn't see him. Goes across instead. Now far side, John Axon. A lot of zip on that one.
He's got that nice cut from the back spot.
Yep.
John Barr does that as well as anybody.
That's really all they've had in terms of picking up decent yardage today.
That's right.
Now John Axon goes over Steve Mooney's head. We didn't get addresses from any of the scorekeepers, did we? Matt Jefferson to Kenny Dobbins, nice catch. Gets up. Now Matt Jefferson. Far side, Walter Vander Straff. Ben Yasadi. Back to Matty J. Up to Dobbins, makes another nice catch. And hits the ground where he seems to be so much at home.
Does it ever seem to you that if he had longer legs, he would never have to fall down like that? I don't know, it just seems sort of...
Kenny goes flick to the middle. Matt Jefferson. To Dobbins. There's a shot out of the corner. Now to Walter for the score. Just making it look easy.
Hey, Scott.
That takes us to game point. Ken Dobbins
Hey, Scott.
20-13.
to Walter Vander Straff. New York 20, Big Brother 13.
You should go back.
Go back.
Go back to the bartender or something.
We're now back in play. New York pulls to Big Brother, moving left to right. New York 1 point away from repeating as national champions for the 3rd consecutive year. EK steps out to Jay Seeger. Jay goes big backhand. 4 players underneath. Tommy Evans can't get it. EK makes a nice run, and I think we're going to have a call in the end zone.
No.
It's like Barney Barnacle is going to say he didn't have a chance at that one. Sorry, that's...
It's his uncle or something.
I go back to Jay Seeger with Bill Rodriguez on the mark. Now swing middle of the field. Up top, nice try there by
Game's over.
yeah.
Game's over right here.
New York, 5 yards out. Step out to the near side, Bill Rodriguez. And calls timeout. Okay, we're back in. Bill Rodriguez, number 19, standing about 6 yards out of the end zone. New York 20, Big Brother 13. This is for their 3rd consecutive national championship. For the score! There they are, your 1991 UPA National Championships, New York Ultimate.
Congratulations to New York.
Billy Rodriguez, throwing to Blair O'Connor. There you have it. New York Ultimate, 1991 UPA National Ultimate Champions.
D, a pretty routine victory for New York Ultimate.
Seemingly so. They never really let Boston into the game. Boston had opportunities early and then again in the middle of the second half to get back in the game. But as is standard New York play, they don't let you get back in the game. Boston really never had a breath. And it seemed to me, I don't know, unforced errors from very unlikely people on the Boston team.
Absolutely. And again, part of the problem may have been that game last night that it took a lot out of them. Part of it may have been they don't use a lot of people on the roster, and they started to get tired as the game went on. You can't make mistakes against New York. New York's offense is too good, and they'll bury you. And you know, we saw it over and over again where they would receive a pull and within 3 passes be in the end zone. They never used more than 10 throughout the entire game. And when they have an offense that good, you can't make mistakes and keep giving it to them, and that's exactly what happened. They never really were in the game. Even at 6-3, it seemed like they spent all their energy to get that one, and New York ran off 5 goals to take the championship.
One important thing to remember, you know, New York wins it, like you said, almost routine. Boston, hey, congratulations to those guys. They're 2nd place in the country.
Absolutely.
They played a terrific tournament. They played well all weekend. With the squad they have, they beat teams that, you know, people said were better, Iguana being one of them, and in a really tough victory for them. So you got to give them a lot of credit. They had a terrific year and a terrific Nationals right here.
Congratulations to Big Brother, and congratulations to New York for their 3rd consecutive national championship victory. For D. Rambo, I'm Scott Gerst from Sanford, Florida. Thanks for watching. Is that all right, JR?